All right, here we go. Taking on Tech. First match of the broadcast. First match of me for the week. And the way it works here on NashvilleLou Live, I play people one at a time. If they beat me, they win a prize from my prize wheel. Take an hourly break, and my reward for people that stick around through the break is I give away a Warsaken wheel spin, or perhaps another prize on another day. But for me today, Warsaken wheel spins. We'll have the first Warsaken wheel spin giveaway of this hour coming up. So your chance to win is ahead. Okay, this is good enough to keep. When you have two-of-a-kind weather, you can get too picky sometimes and take a chance with a mulligan and then end up regretting it. Because maybe you take a mulligan and then nothing matches. Like, oh, nice downgrade there, pick me. So if you got something that's like two-of-a-kind weather, intel, at least give that strong consideration. Two-of-a-kind force for me is 100% lock it in, yes. Because you know the 60 cards you have in your arsenal will start the match off. A deck of 60. You have a leader card, 4 territories, and your arsenal of 60. The shields with the numbers on them. That represents your morale. One of 3 ways you can have a compromised leader in this game. All of your territories being eliminated, all your arsenal hitting 0, or your morale hitting 0. And while this overlay is something that I have custom for my broadcast, you see where it, if you want to see what it looks like without the overlays, that's what it looks like. So with the overlays, I've tried to be very careful to not cover up any part of the game unnecessarily. I mean, inevitably there'll be part of it that gets covered up with them, but there's so much with Warsaken Blitz on screen that visually is important. So I try not to do anything to block that information. So it randomly picks you or your opponent to go first. It shows me 2. All right. Let's match up 2 weather cards here. Geomagnetic disturbance. One broadcasting trait that I will do everything in my power to stop saying is saying 3 of a kind, because typically it's not even 3 of a kind, because it's the same title. Like, these are both geomagnetic disturbance, but one might be a different type of card, and the proper terminology is a match. When you have 3 with the same title that match up, the photos or the images might even be different on the card. But I'm always listening back to my old broadcasts, and there have been a lot of broadcasts for me here with Warsaken Blitz here on NashvilleLou Live. Just going through it's not really a glossary, but it's like a list of terminology. And we'll talk about building cards a little later. But whenever you use them, there's multiple options for them. One of them is you return 6 cards from your discard pile to your deck. But it's called, your deck is rebuilt, or your arsenal being rebuilt. Like, oh, I typically haven't used that approach, although in some cases, in hindsight, I should have. Because it's tempting to want to just go back into your discard pile and cherry pick 3 cards you can add to your hand right away. But there are a number of options here with Warsaken Blitz, and yet it's not a complicated game as far as the true depth of it is the full Warsaken game. This is a simplified version. Makes it very easy to learn the game. So it's it's a match of 2 morales there and a weather card. So double morale, weather, 4 actions for me. You need 3 of a kind. There I go again. You need a match of 3 to put something into effect. Let's see, 2 EEL cards here, force cards. So weather and force. You have 4 spots in total in your war zone. I've learned to use a little bit of caution as far as how quickly you fill up that 3rd spot. So I'll pass up these last 2 actions and end the turn. My next broadcast for Warsaken Blitz, it's a tight turnaround tomorrow. 8 a.m. Eastern, 12:00 UTC. For the next Blue Mint tournament for Warsaken Blitz. My coverage will start a few minutes before, so 7:55 a.m. Eastern. There's the morale match, so 3 morale cards matching up, and that eliminates 6 for my morale, so I'm down from 19 to 13. If your morale hits 0, it compromises your leader. Just as powerful as if all of your territories are eliminated, or if your arsenal hits 0. 2 sets of 2 weather out there for my opponent. I rolled a 5. The only thing that makes 3 of a kind I can't play right now because I don't have anything in my discard pile. There's that. But I'll go weather. So we'll play 2 Monsoon Storm cards here. I already have 2 sets of 2 weather out there and then a set of 2 force. Much as I don't like passing up actions, it doesn't make sense to fill up that 4th spot in my war zone at the moment, so I'll forego those final 3 actions and end the turn. Taking on Tech, my first match of the broadcast here on NashvilleLou Live. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. Warsaken Blitz is so much fun. I actually missed it over the weekend. I mean, I could have played if I really wanted to. It's just during American football season, it's very difficult for me on the weekends. I mean, there was a run there for a few years where it was like the relationship killer. Just a free time. And some girlfriends that didn't necessarily appreciate losing their free time to sports. So it's a time management can be a challenge sometimes this time of the year. But luckily I have 3 of a set of 3 here with the tropical cyclone. So when you make a match of weather, we have 3 of the same title of a weather card. You have 2 options. You can take +3 actions, which in very specific situations you'll want to do, usually into the game. But typically you're going to go +1 turn. This gives you an extra roll of the die. And so maybe you'll get fewer than 3 turns, but you're also drawing that many cards from your arsenal. 4. All right. And they've done some great things with the updates in Warsaken Blitz. Like, it took just a moment or 2 for the cards that hadn't been on screen yet to appear, but they showed up kind of like in a blurry form at first. So that allows them to load up without overloading the system, or it's not an all or nothing, where it takes forever today to see something. It's a positive, that's what I'm saying. So 4 actions here. I'll play a 3rd Monsoon Storm, which will give me another extra turn. 3 actions still to go for this turn. Let's go with the double EL. So that force match will allow me to eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. You also lose the amount of morale listed on the territory card. Normally I'd say to ignore this part of it as far as the cards from your arsenal. Territory cards are an exception because of morale. Speaking of morale, there's also that set of 2 morale out there. If there's a 3rd to match it up, that would have me go down from 13 to 7 morale. And if my morale hits 0, and it can also be a target of my territories as well, which is a concern. Got that high yield up in here, but laugh about high yield all you want. That could end up hurting me as far as card situation goes. Okay, let's go with 2 of the resource silos here. I'll have the extra turn, so I can play a 3rd even if it's a 1, but I rolled a 4. And I have an extra... Yeah, is that a 3rd? We have another. The Weather Cascade text, like, what's going on here? NashvilleLou getting the breaks. Another extra turn. 3 actions for this turn. Let's go ahead and play this. It's a match of 3 with Rayanne, the Insider. She's got the scoops. World exclusive. So that force match will eliminate another territory for my opponent, who'll be down to 2. Remember, if you have all of your territories eliminated, at that point you have a compromised leader. Extra turn. UXWU with the LOLs. Alright, so I'll go in here and... Well... It's going to depend on if and when another WMD trio shows up. But I don't like the idea of building cards just sitting out there. That's just begging to get intel played against them. So, we'll go with this. So you can return 6 to your arsenal. 6 cards from your discard pile, and you get to pick them. But instead of going in your hand, it goes into your arsenal. Sometimes that's important, because if your arsenal gets milled down to 0, that can compromise your leader. But in this case, I'm more interested in what I can bring back. I'll just flex with my Blood Foil Tropical Cyclone. The weather cards, just like the other categories, they function the same when you make a match. Then 1 action remaining for this turn. And let's throw out an intel card. Assassination attempt. Text like 5 minutes later, finally. World exclusive. Roll a 6. Well, I've worked for years in TV news, and that's why some of the stuff I use in here, like when there's, like if there's a raid or a new follow, 3 of a kind weather means an extra turn for tech. That's why it says breaking news. Okay. I had multiple consultants that told me through the years that whatever I possibly could to use breaking news in a story. Like they love that. That tests really well. Like there were levels. There was breaking news, there was developing story, and they had little stingers for it. And I was like, I wish that certain other things were as much of a priority to you in this newsroom as those elements. But, you know, that's part of being a team, is doing what they want you to do. So there's 2 force cards out there. 1 on the roll on the extra turn for tech. There's a match. That force match will eliminate one of my territories. Don't take my high yield, tech. Don't take the Treasury Department. So some sympathy from tech, who instead took out the Clementine Meyer. My turn. 5. Didn't get the WMD, but I can play these. Oh, I've extra Cyclone. I'll just keep the Blood Foil in my hand. I'll play the other 3. Nah, it doesn't really matter which 3 you play. I'll take the extra turn. 2 actions here. Go ahead and play 2 Sergeant Sigwaltz. I'll roll a 4 higher and have a WMD match. I can win the match here. It's a 2. I got what I wanted with that, but now it's kind of awkward with this being out there, isn't it? That was a risk I took. We'll play 2 time detonations. That's it for my turn. It's a 6. Tech rolls a 6. I have 10 morale. So if Tech can get 2 sets of matches, trio morales, like right there, I'm gonna be down to 4. Another 3 matching would make me down to 0 morale. There's building cards being played. So a building card match will allow my opponent to bring, in all likelihood, bring back 3 cards and 3. All right. WMD. This EMP discharge match is going to eliminate my opponent's final 2 territories.
Select the target.
Well, thank you, UXW. I appreciate that. As far as the broadcast dynamics.
Compromised.
It's funny because there are so many tricks and little things I learned working in radio, but that was like 20 years ago. I mean, I've done radio plenty since then, but as far as like you're on the microphone, you're talking to people, as opposed to a sports broadcaster. Like, I got to do a radio broadcast for Nashville SC U23 back in 2017. I did a lot of broadcasts for them that were just webcasts, that were just with video, both play-by-play and color, but that was fun to get to do a broadcast of a pro sports team in Nashville, my hometown. That was a fun moment for me. Even though I really had no business calling soccer at that level, just because I hadn't called it since college. I don't know the sport well enough. But sometimes you get opportunities in life. So I'm always trying to find things I learned from the past and find ways to apply them to now. And I got lucky here. Got the breaks when I needed them. This 3rd Sergeant Sigwalt Klein. This force match will win me the game.
Select the target.
Good game, Tech. Here we go, taking on UXOOU, Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou Live. With those Blue Mint tournaments, to be clear, it's free to enter. Free to play as long as you have enough of a Warsaken collection to have a deck to play in a Blitz match, which it's not that difficult. Anybody watching this wanting to play but you're not sure how to, or you get cards or whatever you're looking for to learn, I go ahead and post this as well while I'm thinking about it. The link to the Warsaken Discord. Now, if you've listened to any of my broadcasts in the past, you know I have mixed emotions when it comes to Discord. But I love the community on the Warsaken Discord page. And again, that reflects well on the management of the company that owns and operates Warsaken. They've done a fantastic job of fostering a really special community. It's like the antithesis of what you think of with interactions with video games and sometimes people not behaving well. By and large, you get some great people in that Warsaken Discord. Well, I can sit here and talk all day about Discord, but it's not going to make any of these cards match up. So I'll use a mulligan. That mulligan shuffles my arsenal, my deck of 60, and then redeals 8 cards. And I have 2 of a kind that match, especially, or 2 forces that match up that usually just a keep full stop, especially after a first mulligan. Because the second mulligan means you're stuck with whatever they give you and your opponent gets an extra card. So I've got buildings and forces. Let's keep. And I get to go first. It's just a random pick as far as that goes with the computer. The game decides for you. Okay, well, we'll send the scout out first. That makes sense, right? Specialist Chloe Moore. She's got these high-powered binoculars. She's going to stare you down. But that's it for my turn. This is the Code Incoming game mat that I'm using with this deck today. Many thanks to Biscuit, who gave me this game mat. Very generous. It's kind of a funny thing with Warsaken and names, because like it lists your wax address, which in some cases is helpful, and some people, of course, will use for branding purposes. I have to use my, well, I didn't have to, but I've gone with just my regular wax address, not the custom one that I have for NashvilleLou, because the NashvilleLou collection, which I talk about sometimes here, I already have the NashvilleLou name connected to that, so it'd be kind of weird to have that, because I kept that separated, not anticipating what might happen with the NashvilleLou name and live streaming, but here we are. I think that's a great thing, because as you've been able to tell probably, I have a lot of latitude here, and I love having all these options. Again, working in TV for years is a great experience, but also it can be frustrating. Trying to get people to approve your ideas, especially when you're young, like I was in the business. I mean, when you're young, and especially in a role where you're telling people what to do, you're going to constantly test and pressure. But hey, that's how it goes in that business. No special treatment. All right, so this is a match here with these 3 Romans prototype force cards.
Select a target.
So that force match will allow me to eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. Abandoned Wasteland's only that -1 morale, very similar to Vast Hinterland. It doesn't really matter for this particular match because I don't have morale in my deck, but I like to make the point because it is important. Oh, here's one of the new ones for the Savage Escalation set. Scrapyard, S3-1035. Like an address. Scruff McGruff, 60652. Eliminate. That's it for my turn. So my opponent's down to 3 territories. It's a roll of 4. Intel. So 2 WMDs, 2 Intels, 2 Weathers. Need 3 to make a match. There's a line out there in the war zone opposite me. My turn. 4. All right, nothing makes a 3 of a kind match. It's going to be tough for me to not say 3 of a kind. I may still say that sometimes. I may slip. I may just go with it. But really the way you're supposed to say though is we have a match of 3. It's funny because with something like this, a game that is brand new, that's still being developed, I feel a certain responsibility to use the proper terms. They put together this amazing game that I've had countless hours of fun with, that I've been able to live stream and share and build this Twitch channel after years of it being just like this obscure tiny thing I did just with Fire Pro Wrestling. And now it's so much more and it's so much fun. So I have 2 force cards, 2 weathers. I need a third for each, respectively, to make a match. A lot out there opposite me, only 2 actions to go for the turn. So I'm hesitant somewhat about putting out more. I'm not going to put 2 building cards out there. That's just begging to get targeted. I'm very hesitant about that with building cards. Not as much as WMDs. I'll protect those even more, but... Anyway, that's the very long way of saying I'm going to pass up those 2 actions and end the turn. So UXWOU rolls a 5. That's a force match right there. That Dark Bear 2 XP. Actually what I had on the countdown screen. I mentioned earlier those Savage Escalation Wave 2 or whatever, the second release of the loot packs that happened this past Friday. The one that I had spotlighted there. I intentionally picked like the newer stuff. I try to spotlight the cool looking stuff for that countdown screen. But in this case, it was a match of 3 to eliminate one of my 4 territories. So we're both at 3. My turn is a 3. Waiting for a second. Hoping somehow this will turn to a white phosphorus bomb, but no, it's just cloud cover. Big difference. Okay, well I do have 2 spots open in my war zone. Moonbaz Marty, hello. Right, well. Okay, I'll put some force. Well, you know what? I mean, you can't be like scared of intel, but you have to kind of plan it out a little bit. Oh. We'll go with a G1 Fox Buster. We'll play 2 of those. Love this card. And I'll definitely keep that 4th spot, my war zone, open at least for this turn. So I'll forego that action and end the turn. Enter H, hello. Greetings and welcome. We'll be going back to the randomizer here in a little while. Also coming up later this hour, a Warsaken wheel spin giveaway. We'll have another Warsaken wheel spin giveaway in our next hour as well. So a weather match. Those 3 weather cards mean an extra turn for my opponent. 2 actions remain for this turn. A set of 2 WMD, a set of 2 intel, a set of 2 weather. Extra turn, roll of 4. 4 actions, 14 cards. I was saying earlier, tomorrow, tournament doubleheader. The 8 a.m. tournament with Warsaken Blitz is the first. I've got a Brawlers tournament that evening, U.S. time evening. I believe 8 p.m. on that. But for the purposes of people that just care about Blitz, that will be tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, 1200 UTC. This arrived quite nicely here on the roll of 5, so I have 5 actions, and I have a match here with this WMD White Phosphorus Bomb. This will eliminate 2 of my opponent's 3 remaining territories.
Select target.
Brotherland Fields, one of the new Savage Escalation territories. It only dings you for 3 morale if it gets eliminated, so I anticipate seeing this among the more popular cards being used as new players come into the game here in the coming months. So 2 actions remain for the turn, but nothing makes 3 to match up, so I may still say 3 of a kind. I can't really shake that. Even though it's not necessarily the same card, but I'm doing my best to talk about being a match when it is a match of 3. Nothing that makes a match of 3 here, so I'll forego those last 2 actions and end the turn. Two actions, 16 cards. Here for UXOOU, my opponent. So it's 2 force cards. So tomorrow I won't have anything, at least for the moment, I'll have anything scheduled for my usual 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC time slot. I'll be back on Wednesday in that time slot with more Warsaken Blitz live player versus player competition. Rolled a 3. I've got a match here with this third geomagnetic disturbance, so 3 of a kind weather. Extra turn. 2 actions remain for this turn. I can go ahead and play 2 of these ZS Wolf cards. Extra turn. 3. Well, I didn't need that extra wolf, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and play that here.
Select target.
This will give my opponent a compromised leader.
Leader compromised.
Play 2 weather cards here. Blinding Sandstorm. And that will end my turn. I didn't have that match of 3 for either Chloe Moore or the G1 Foxbuster. My opponent's got 4 wide, 2 deep in the war zone, so this could shift back the other way in a hurry. It's a roll of 4. So 2 of a kind WMD. There's a match for force. The trio of force cards there takes me down to 2 territories. 3 actions to go for the turn. If there's a third WMD up there to match those 2, there's not, at least here, but there's a third weather. So the weather match means an extra turn. Taking on UXOOU here on NashvilleLou Live. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, the next Blue Mint tournament. There's 2 WMDs and then a roll of 5. If there's a third WMD up there, I'm going to have a compromised leader. All UXOOU would need after that is a force match to beat me. There's the WMD trio. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Compromised.
We both have the red ring around our respective leaders' weather cards, so extra turn. That makes me think UXOOU doesn't have a force match in hand quite yet, because otherwise you would have just taken the +3 on the turns. Oh, there's a trio of intel. So this intel match will probably bounce 1 each from my war zone. It sure will. That was the risk I took there. Here's the extra turn. It might not matter. If it's a 3 or it's a 2. It's a 2. Those WMDs do no good at this point for my opponent. I've got a compromised leader right now. Moreover, a WMD trio has already been played by my opponent, so you can't match a second in a given match. 2, but only 2. Let's see if I can... Well, I thought I was done for there. Let's see if I can pull it out here. 6. The Foxbusters find a way. G1 Foxbuster for the win.
Select target.
It's a great card right there, that infinite gold leader, Arin, but limited. All right, good game, UXOOU.
Warsaken.
All right, taking on Boombaz Marty. I think the O's and zeros, I think they type out the same way on those connect codes. I'm not sure. Those tend to be a source of frustration for me, so luckily it worked here, so I can go with that. Well. And you don't want to be too picky with your starting 8. At least have that sort of a match, so I'll keep it. I've had the breaks today as far as getting to go first. Let's see, 6. One way to start things off, but nothing makes a match of 3. So we'll go with 2 fire in the fields. 3 spots open in my war zone, 4 actions for the turn. More weather, cloud cover. 2 sets of 2 weather. 2 actions to go for the turn. Go force. A couple options with that. Instead, let's go intel. Burn notice. That's it for my turn. The game mat I'm using for this particular matchup is the Dusk Magma game mat. Dusk Magma. It's a volcano kind of look. So a roll of 4 for Moonbaz Marty with that 24 karat gold die there. The color as far as with the definitely stands out against the black. There's 3 for a match with the trio of force. I'm down to 3 territories. Moonbaz Marty with a goat. Greatest of all time. Title in use. There's a lot of fun. You can customize things. And you can do it by deck in this game. Which is helpful because I can have 5 different setups ready to go for a broadcast. 1. Okay. Well, nothing matches up for a 3 of a kind, so I pass up the action and the turn. I really value keeping that 4th spot in my war zone open as much as possible. The flexibility it gives you. Moonbaz Marty rolls a 2. 2 WMDs. A 3rd white phosphorus bomb would eliminate 2 of my 3 remaining territories. My turn, too. It's risky to do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to go with 2 force cards here. Agent Zera. Moonbaz Marty rolls a 6. 14 cards and 6 actions here for Moonbaz Marty. More often than not, when I play Moonbaz Marty wins. There's a 3rd WMD. Really hoping I was going to get a 3rd burn notice to drop in before that last roll for me. Or on that last roll, it didn't. And now that WMD's been played. And you're not going to get many clean shots against Moonbaz Marty as far as what's out there in the war zone. Look at this. I swear, Moonbaz Marty has an almost magician-like ability to bring the cards that he needs up to the top, against me especially.
Compromised.
At least that's how it feels. Moonbaz Marty is going to get the win right here. Look at that. My goodness.
Leader eliminated. Defeated.
All right, good game, Moonbaz Marty.
Warsaken.
Songsaken. It depends. There's one of those, I'm not sure, I didn't recognize any of those, there were 10 songs and they're all in a language I didn't speak. Sometimes you can listen for context clues, maybe you'll pick up a word that matches, but that gets a little bit trickier. I wish I had a stronger aptitude for languages. It's always been elusive. Mulligan. So nothing matches up. So the mulligan, it shuffles your arsenal at deck of 60 and then deals you 8 again. Oof. These match up, but I'm not going to put building cards out there early. Bad things happen when you do that in this game, at least in my experience. So as much as I don't like to do it, I will take a second mulligan. When that happens, you're stuck with whatever they give you, and your opponent, your enemy, gets an extra card. Well, that worked out. This is the blood fungus game mat that I'm using here. Looks like the inside of a computer, almost if it was with red dye. Roll of 4 here for Flaw with one of the best avatars in the game. That dog's staring down a knife. And Flaw's blood foil St. Purcell Harbor blends in quite nicely here. So that's a weather match. Means an extra turn. Yeah, the blood fungus match, I mean, as much as that name, it's pretty repulsive. It looks amazing. The visual, it's visually impressive. This has been one of the more elusive ones to see even on the market. If the price gets low enough, I buy them to give them away here. But blood fungus, at last check, it's up there price-wise. So we got Agent Nika Devin out there, the sneaky one. That's a force out there in my opponent's war zone. 5 actions to go for the turn. There's 3. Gives you the false hope of only having 1, and then it's a triple. So that's a match. That force match will eliminate one of my 4 territories. Three actions still to go for the turn for Flaw. Later in this hour, I'll be giving away another Warsaken wheel spin. Your chance to win's coming up. Interesting how that darker card back that Flaw's using for this match actually blends in more than you might think with the red background. So it's kind of darker over there. It's like a shadow. There's a link to that Blue Mint tournament for tomorrow for Warsaken Blitz. There's a link to NashvilleLou.com, which has my schedule for the entire week. My broadcast schedule, that is. So 3 actions to go here unless I'm somehow stuck. I don't know. There we go. Alright, so 2 force cards out there. 1 action to go for the turn. Another force. Flaw's bringing the heat. My turn. 5. Ugh. Kind of a hodgepodge here. At least I have these 2 Jax Nash force cards. 3 spots open in my war zone. 3 actions to go for the turn. I'm not keen on putting building cards out there, especially like this, where I only have 2 of them. Especially when there's nothing in my discard pile. A lot of bad things can happen to this game if you do that. So, I'm going to pass up those remaining 3 actions and end the turn. Roll 3 for Flaw. Actually have 2 tournaments on the schedule for Warsaken Blitz for this week. The one that I mentioned for tomorrow morning, my time morning. There's 2 WMDs from Flaw. And then on Friday there's one that be a little bit more normal as far as the start time. I believe that's a 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. I do need to check on that though to be sure. But I don't want to hype it from too far ahead of time to confuse anybody, because the next one is tomorrow morning. Morning at least, U.S. time. My turn. 1. Okay. I'll use that the 1 action I have here, and I'll play this Blinding Sandstorm. That's it for my turn. Prawn, hello. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou Live. I hope Flaw's not going to get in trouble for playing while at work. Hopefully they'll be understanding. Let's roll a 4. The 2 weather cards. The Violent Tornado. A lot there in the war zone for Flaw, but that's it for the turn. My turn. 5. Ooh. Like you're waiting for like these big trios to show up, but nothing matches as far as for 3. I can play a second Blinding Sandstorm. So we'll have the 2 force cards there with Jax, Nash, and the 2 weathers. 2 spots open by Warzone. 4 actions to go for the turn. Let's put some intel out there. Rummage! At a glance might look like a force card, but as always look for that insignia, that emblem in the bottom left. I'll tell you which category it fits into. It's what's important in Warsaken Blitz. I'll pass it the last 2 actions in the turn. So Flaw rolls the 3. Flaw saying 2 customers came to the store. How dare they? Try to interrupt Flaw in the middle of this important match. So a pullback of that force card there from Flaw. And 2 weather cards. My turn. 3. My goodness. Well. Much I'd love to have replace maybe the intel or the force with these 2 weather cards. I can't even do that with the actions I have here. I can only get 1 of the weathers out there if I did a pullback. So I won't do a pullback. I'll pass up the actions and then, well, hang on, let's see. Let's think about this for a sec. Okay. No, I don't actually have 3 of a kind, because I would have played it. I'd say, wait, what? No. Okay, pass up those last 3 actions in the turn. Right now, Flaw's in a pretty good position. Moonbaz's body with a goat. That was one of the fastest wins anybody's had against me in Blitz in a long time. Moonbaz Marty. Tremendous win over me earlier. If you missed it, you can check out the VOD. See me get taken out in short order by Moonbaz Marty. So Flaw rolls a 1. But is there a match for any of those sets of 2 out there in the war zone? My turn? 1. Oh my. Well. Again, nothing makes a 3 match. So we'll pass up the action and end the turn. And Flaw's not going to keep rolling like 1 and 2 over and over. 5. So Flaw now with 21 cards and 5 actions. Remember that pullback where Flaw played those 2 cloud covers. Flaw has all 4 of her territories intact. I only have 3 remaining for myself. There's no surprise there, that 3rd cloud cover. I suspected that was going to be incoming as soon as that pullback happened to make room for it. So an extra turn pending and 4 actions to go for this turn. Flaw with 20 cards. Does she have a WMD match? That could really mess me up right about now, because that would take out 2 of my territories. Instead, there's Max Harper. There's a force match. I mean, under 2 territories. Theo Treku 11, hello. Greetings and welcome. So I'm down to 2 territories after that force match from Flaw. There's one action remaining. There's a third force. Czar Cyrus is going to have me down to 1 territory left. There's the extra turn for Flaw. 6. Uh-oh. If Flaw can play 2 sets of 3 force, that would be the match. A match of WMD and then a match of force could beat me as well. 22 cards for Flaw, 6 actions. Private Saravet. There's a force match right there that'll help me at a compromised leader. Take out my last territory.
Compromised.
The red ring circling my leader. Compromised. 3 actions to go. Does Flaw have a force match to beat me here? While I'm trying to find that trio of force cards to get the match and get the win. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou live. We'll be going back to the randomizer after this match. I'm looking for my next opponent. There's 2. If there's a third, that's the match. Flaw wins. Hi, good game.
Warsaken.
And the funny thing is, I have almost no phone numbers memorized anymore. I remember from way back in the day numbers, but with cell phones, things have changed a lot. You used to have to remember a lot as far as if you wanted to have phone numbers available, or you just write it down, but then that can sometimes cause problems. Okay, the only thing that matches are the building cards, and I'm not inclined to go with that. Not a single force in here, so I'll take a mulligan, which will shuffle my arsenal, my deck of 60, and then deal me 8. All right, matching force cards, keep. And this time I get to go first. 5. Okay, well, it's a wide open war zone since we just started the match. Start with weather. Play these 2 terrifying storms. 3 spots open in my war zone. 3 actions to go for the turn. Let's go with Force Kensho, Prime Regent. 2 of those. 2 and 2. I'm going to pass up that last action in the turn. Taking on Buzz King. Buzz King rolls a 5. You do have to use some caution early on. Like, if you get to go first and you roll a high number because you don't know what kind of a deck your opponent might have. There's a force match, those trio of Agent Zera. It's going to eliminate one of my 4 territories. But if an opponent has a large amount of intel and you go out there and you just post a bunch of your stuff out in your war zone right away, it can easily be targeted early. So that's something to keep in mind. All right. Which is another good reason to play weather early if you only have like roll a 3 or a 2 or whatever. Because you're not necessarily revealing anything to your opponent, since really every hand can and should have weather. And you mostly will see people play that early. Let's play this third Kensho. That worked out.
Select target.
This will eliminate, that force match will eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. 2 actions remain for the turn. Both at 3 territories. I'll play more weather. Play 2 freezing rainstorms. That's it for the turn. It's a roll of 1 for Buzz King. Force. My turn. 1. Okay, well, nothing makes a match. No third to match up with any of the pair that I have, so pass up the action in the turn. The Buzz King has 2 weather cards and then 1 force card, but a roll of 5. 13 cards, 5 actions here for Buzz King. Using the Slate Lux game mat. Slate Lux. Looks like a black felt. See, on maybe a billiards table or a high-end poker table at a classy casino. There's a weather match. Those 3 ideal conditions. Giving Buzz King an extra turn. 2 actions still to go for this turn. If you'd like to learn more about Warsaken, the easiest place to do that is the Warsaken Discord. There's a link in chat. 2 actions here for Buzz King for this turn. 2 force cards, extra turn, roll of 2. Is there a third Azar Cyrus to make a match? There sure is. It's going to have me down to 2 territories. The second force. So 2 weather cards, 2 force cards out there for my opponent. My turn, 6. All right. I'm going to have a match here with these 3 white phosphorus bombs. WMD. This will eliminate 2 of my opponent's 4 territories, or 2 of the 3 that remain.
Select target.
You start with 4. Now at 3, about to drop to 1. Where you can match at most 1 WMD per match, per side, in Warsaken Blitz. I have 3 actions remaining for the turn. I'll have anything to match up as far as a trio goes, but I can play 2 intel cards here, stolen blueprints. I'll forego that last action and end the turn. Taking on Buzz King here on NashvilleLou Live. And later in this hour, another Warsaken wheel spin giveaway. Chance to win's coming up with that. With another Warsaken wheel spin giveaway to come in our next hour as well. A building card. Interesting. My turn. 1. Oh. Trying to get that third to make a match with one of those duos out there, but no luck. So I'll pass up that action and end the turn. Roll of 5. Where I could be in trouble is if Buzz King has a WMD match, because that would give me a compromised leader. So that would eliminate my final 2 remaining territories. Instead, there's the building card trio. I haven't used any intel against my opponent. Going back for force. All right, so another force match. Not exactly surprising since we just saw it get pulled back. That's me down to 1 territory. So we both are down to having only 1 territory remaining. My turn. 6. Will this do it? Sure will. Max Harper. This match will give my opponent a compromised leader.
Select a target.
Got lucky with that roll when I got it.
Compromised.
00 Black Blade. This trio will be a match to give me the win. Eliminate a compromised leader on my opponent's side.
Select a target.
All right, good game. Game, Buzz King. It was a hard fight.
Warsaken.
All right, here we go. Taking on Carlo CGTV. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou Live. Remember, we'll have another Warsaken wheel spin giveaway in our next hour. Chance to win coming up. All right, the only thing that matches up are building cards. And again, I'm trying to think for my first turn, what am I going to do? And I'm not going to put building cards out there if I can help it. So I'm going to take a mulligan. Reshuffles my arsenal at deck of 60 and then deals you 8 again. In this case, I have intel that match up. You don't want to be too picky about it. That second mulligan, you're stuck with whatever they give you, and your opponent gets an extra card. So if you something at least halfway doable, like I have here, keep. And again, this is the Slate Lux game mat that I'm using here for this deck today. Carlos CGTV gets to go first, rolls a 3. Want to see my upcoming broadcast schedule, that information, plus links to recent broadcasts and popular clips, NashvilleLou.com. Pretty simple. I'm NashvilleLou here, NashvilleLou.com. My turn. 1. All right. My opponent with some strong cards out there early, that duo of WMD and then a force card out there. I'll play 2 assassination attempts, or I'll play 1. Only had the 1 action there. And that ends my turn. Roll a 4. Taking on Carlo CGTV. Tomorrow it's 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. for me as far as my tournament doubleheader. 8 a.m. Eastern, the Blue Mint Tournament for Warsaken Blitz. 8 p.m. Eastern, the Blue Mint Tournament for Brawlers. And then back Wednesday, my normal slot, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC with more live player versus player competition. If you want to read beyond that, NashvilleLou.com has your hookup. There's a roll of 5. All right, so I have a match here with these 3 X3 Black Dog forces. So we'll start with that. Give it a moment for the flames to kick in. Love the artwork in this game. This is a Savage Escalation Force card here, the X3 Black Dog.
Select a target.
This force match will eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. Wolf Power District, that -6 morale. It started as a 20. And it's down to a 14. Now, this doesn't matter for this particular deck because I don't have any morale cards in here. But it's something to be aware of when you're putting your deck together as far as you will run into morale sometimes, and that can at times play a significant factor. 2 actions to go for the turn. Go ahead and play the second assassination attempt. So 2 intel. 3 spots open in my war zone. 1 action to go for the turn. And you always invite an intel trio if you play a 3rd card just out there as a one-off. So I'm not going to do that on the turn. It's interesting to see what some players do as far as with the approach with the WMDs. Personally, I'm a big fan of having 2 sets of 4, but some people have more, and you can put them out there almost as bait. Or like, okay, pick your poison, which one are you going to go after? There are a number of approaches. It's interesting to... And I play enough different people here. It's great. I love the variety. And yeah, I love having the regulars here. Many thanks to everybody that takes the time to watch. And if somebody just lurk or listen or got the kind of job where maybe you can jump in from time to time, and then other times you have to do work-related things, which I certainly understand. I know how that can be. Roll a 3. Well, nothing makes a match, but I do have some duos in here. 2 of a kinds. RCG Charleston. Look out for the iceberg. So I have a duo of intel and then this new duo here with 4. So I have 1 action to go for the turn. But I'm going to pass up, well, yeah, I'm going to pass up that. It's just 1 action, so I'll pass up in the turn. Conflicted. I thought about putting a card out there, but sometimes you do that, and the next turn you have maybe 2 weather cards you want to play. Then you have to pull cards back, then you've revealed things, and it's a whole mess. And then sometimes you're grateful because you'll have an easier time making 3 of a kind of matchup. There's a match for WMD. That WMD trio, that match is going to take out 2 of my 4 territories, eliminating 2, leaving only 2 remaining. The treasury, the high yield out. My turn. 4. Okay. You see what I was talking about with the... Now I have a 2 of a kind, or 2 weather cards here that I can play together. Geomagnetic disturbance. That's not a match, just a duo, but I'd rather have that out there than, say, really anything else in that spot. Aside from maybe a 3rd to match something up, but I don't have that. So aside from the obvious, I think that's the best play. We'll forego the last 2 actions and end the turn. Taking on Carlo CGTV here on NashvilleLou Live. The opposing player, it's a roll of 5. So there's a match. Trio of force cards. Going to eliminate a 3rd territory. I'll be down to 1 remaining. Four actions still to go for the turn for Carlo CGTV. So it's a trio of blinding sandstorms there, a weather match, and thus an extra turn for my opponent. 1 action still to go for the turn. Building card. Extra turn. 6. I only have 1 territory remaining. 2 force matches would beat me here. One would eliminate my final territory. The other would eliminate what would then be a compromised leader. It could also be, let's see what we have up here. You can't play anything with the WMD. That's just in the way at this point. It may not matter. There's a force match. Trio H5 bombers. Of a compromised leader.
Compromised.
One more force match would be the game. There's a weather match. Trio weather cards will mean an extra turn for my opponent. Carlos CGTV just needs a trio of force cards to get a match and get the win. 3. $13 cards. Building cards. Dropship, V-Type X. Be my guess, one of those two. I mean, it could be a weather, but you're not going to go back for a WMD since you can only match one of those per game, and it was in fact force that was brought back. One action remains for the turn. So unless I somehow manage to bounce that force card from my opponent's war zone, if I don't get the win before I hand the die back over, all my opponent has to do is roll a 2 or higher to beat me. That's what I'm up against. 1. Well, okay. If it can only be 1, let it be the 3rd assassination attempt. So that trio will make a match. You have 3 different options when you match with 3 intel cards in Warsaken Blitz. You can force a discard of 3. After your opponent's played a WMD, it's really not a good idea to do that, though, usually, in my opinion. You can mill 6 cards if you're trying to get your opponent's arsenal down to 0 or just limit their options, but here, bouncing.
Select target.
Clearly the best choice. Now, I don't want to mess with the WMDs. Those are actually in my opponent's way. They're actually helping me at this point, strangely enough. The V-Type X can go back to where it belongs. Discard pile.
Select target.
I'll send both of these Private John Blackthorns in the same direction.
Select target.
That's it for my turn. Look, I got the most I could out of that 1. Let's see if this actually bought me an extra turn or if it's just delaying the inevitable. All my opponent needs is a 5. After all that, all my opponent needs is a trio of force cards to get a match and get the win. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. That's the match. All right, good game, Carlos CGTV.
Warsaken.
All right, here we go. Taking on Carlos CGTV. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou Live. Remember, we'll have another Warsaken wheel spin giveaway in our next hour. Chance to win coming up. All right, the only thing that matches up are building cards. And again, I'm trying to think for my first turn, what am I going to do? And I'm not going to put building cards out there if I can help it. So I'm going to take a mulligan. Reshuffles my arsenal at deck of 60 and then deals you 8 again. In this case, I have intel that match up. You don't want to be too picky about it. That second mulligan, you're stuck with whatever they give you, and your opponent gets an extra card. So if you have something at least halfway doable, like I have here, keep. And again, this is the Slate Lux game mat that I'm using here for this deck today. Carlos CGTV gets to go first, rolls a 3. you want to see my upcoming broadcast schedule, that information, plus links to recent broadcasts and popular clips, NashvilleLou.com. Pretty simple. I'm NashvilleLou here, NashvilleLou.com. My turn. 1. All right. My opponent with some strong cards out there early, that duo of WMD and then a force card out there. I'll play 2 assassination attempts, or I'll play 1. Only had the 1 action there. And that ends my turn. Roll a 4. Taking on Carlos CGTV. Tomorrow it's 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. for me as far as my tournament doubleheader. 8 a.m. Eastern, the Blue Mint tournament for Warsaken Blitz. 8 p.m. Eastern, the Blue Mint tournament for Brawlers. And then back Wednesday, my normal slot, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC with more live player versus player competition. If you want to read beyond that, NashvilleLou.com has your hookup. There's a roll of 5. All right, so I have a match here with these 3 X3 Black Dog forces. So we'll start with that. Give it a moment for the flames to kick in. Love the artwork in this game. This is a Savage Escalation Force card here, the X3 Black Dog.
Select target.
This force match will eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. Wolf Power District, that -6 morale. It started as a 20, and it's down to a 14. Now, this doesn't matter for this particular deck because I don't have any morale cards in here, but it's something to be aware of when you're putting your deck together, as far as you will run into morale sometimes, and that can at times be a significant factor. 2 actions to go for the turn. Go ahead and play the second assassination attempt. So 2 intel, 3 spots open in my war zone, 1 action to go for the turn. And you almost invite an intel trio if you play a 3rd card just out there as a one-off. So I'm not going to do that. I'll end the turn. It's interesting to see what some players do as far as with the approach with the WMDs. Personally, I'm a big fan of having 2 sets of 4, but some people have more, and you can put them out there almost as bait. Or like, okay, pick your poison, which one are you going to go after? There are a number of approaches. It's interesting to... And I play enough different people here. It's great. I love the variety. And yeah, I love having the regulars here. Many thanks to everybody that takes the time to watch. I know some of you just lurk or listen or got the kind of job where maybe you can jump in from time to time, and then other times you have to do work-related things, which I certainly understand. I know how that can be. Roll a 3. Well, nothing makes a match, but I do have some duos in here. Some 2 of a kinds. RCG Charleston. Look out for the iceberg. So I have a duo of intel and then this new duo here with 4. So I have 1 action to go for the turn. But I'm going to pass up, well, yeah, I'm going to pass up that. It's just 1 action, so I'll pass up in the turn. Conflicted. I thought about putting a card out there, but sometimes you do that, and the next turn you have maybe 2 weather cards you want to play. Then you have to pull cards back, then you've revealed things, and it's a whole mess. And then sometimes you're grateful because you'll have an easier time making 3 of a kind of matchup. There's a match for WMD. That WMD trio, that match is going to take out 2 of my 4 territories, eliminating 2, leaving only 2 remaining. The treasury with a high yield out. My turn. 4. Okay. You see what I was talking about with the... Now I have a 2 of a kind, or 2 weather cards here that I can play together. Geomagnetic disturbance. That's not a match, just a duo, but I'd rather have that out there than, say, really anything else in that spot. Aside from maybe a third to match something up, but I don't have that. So aside from the obvious, I think that's the best play. We'll forego the last two actions and end the turn. Taking on Carlo CGTV here on NashvilleLou Live. The opposing player, it's a roll of 5. So there's a match. Trio of force cards. Going to eliminate a third territory. I'll be down to 1 remaining. Four actions still to go for the turn for Carlo CGTV. So it's a trio of blinding sandstorms there, a weather match, and thus an extra turn for my opponent. 1 action still to go for the turn. Building card. Extra turn. 6. I only have 1 territory remaining. 2 force matches would beat me here. One would eliminate my final territory. The other would eliminate what would then be a compromised leader. It could also be, let's see what we have up here. You can't play anything with the WMD. That's just in the way at this point. That may not matter. There's a force match. Trio H5 bombers of a compromised leader.
Compromised.
1 more force match would be the game. There's a weather match. Trio weather cards will mean an extra turn for my opponent. Carlos CGTV just needs a trio of force cards to get a match and get the win. 3. $13 cards. Building cards. Dropship, V-Type X. Be my guess, one of those two. I mean, it could be a weather, but you're not going to go back for a WMD since you can only match one of those per game, and it was in fact force that was brought back. 1 action remains for the turn. So unless I somehow manage to bounce that force card from my opponent's war zone, if I don't get the win before I hand the die back over, all my opponent has to do is roll a 2 or higher to beat me. That's what I'm up against. 1. Well, okay. If it can only be 1, let it be the 3rd assassination attempt. So that trio will make a match. You have 3 different options when you match with 3 intel cards in Warsaken Blitz. You can force a discard of 3. After your opponent's played a WMD, it's really not a good idea to do that, though, usually, in my opinion. You can mill 6 cards if you're trying to get your opponent's arsenal down to 0 or just limit their options, but here, bouncing.
Select target.
Clearly the best choice. Now, I don't want to mess with the WMDs. Those are actually in my opponent's way. They're actually helping me at this point, strangely enough. The V-Type X can go back to where it belongs. Discard pile.
Select target.
I'll send both of these Private John Blackthorns in the same direction.
Select target.
that's it for my turn. Look, I got the most I could out of that one. Let's see if this actually bought me an extra turn or if it's just delaying the inevitable. All my opponent needs is a 5. After all that, all my opponent needs is a trio of force cards to get a match and get the win. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. That's the match. All right, good game, Carlos, CGTV. All right, taking on Sean IOP. Sean IOP has shown tremendous generosity in the Warsaken community. There are a lot of very generous people in there, but Sean IOP definitely stood out. Had that remarkable run, donated an unreal successful mole hunt number 5. I still remember the mint number because I said it so many times. That was given to me to give away in May. That stayed up on my prize wheel until mid-August. It was remarkable. And then the prize that replaced it in that spot the next day went, as I recall. So it's funny how that works. Okay, well, a nice blend of colors, and yet nothing matches. Well, again, so I'll reshuffle my arsenal, my deck of 60, and then, well, you can't get too picky at this point. You don't want that second mulligan unless it's just like you have nothing. So we'll keep. And I get to go first this time. This is the Dusk Magma game mat that I'm using. So I get to go first, but it's only a roll of 1. So I'll go with Intel, Planet Device. But just one of them. And that's it for the turn. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou live. Weather card. Then a duo of WMDs. Need a trio to make a match. Duo of 4, so a lot out there for Sean IOP early. My turn. 5. I want to take a look at this card. I don't think I've seen this. It's Yoshinobu the Devoted. I don't think I've seen this version of it. Speaking of unreal. Again, just some remarkable artwork in this game. I have to fawn over my opponent's cards. It just stood out. Play enough matches in Warsaken Blitz, you see a lot of different cards, and yet for the dozens and dozens I've played in the past few weeks, here I am still marveling at something new that I've seen. It's a good thing. Playing a device. So I have 2 intels out there in my war zone, 4 actions to go for the turn. 3 spots open in my war zone. We'll go with a duo of weather, fire in the fields. 2 actions to go for the turn, 2 spots open in my war zone. I'm actually going to pass up those last 2 actions in the turn. Roll 3. I could have gone with a 2 of a kind there in that 3rd spot, but trying some different options. Different tactics and techniques. 3 of a kind. Force. That force match will eliminate one of my 4 territories. But again, the value in having that 4th spot in your war zone open. You have 3 actions and you have a trio of cards to play. Go boom, boom, boom. Take out a territory. So I rolled a 1. Again, I could put something in my 3rd spot, my war zone, but I'm even less inclined to do it here. So I won't. I'll pass the action in the turn. Even if I put just one out there, it could still be potentially targeted. Although there's a roll of 1 by Sean IOP, my opponent in this match. That's it for the turn. My turn. 5. All right. So I have a third planted device, like a trio. We have an intel match. I want the bounce cards from my opponent's war zone.
Select target.
Do so here. Let's bounce. Weather.
Select target.
WMD.
Select target.
Force. Out. 4 actions to go for the turn. Let's go with this trio of A7 Axe Force cards. This will be a match.
Select target.
This will eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. Scrapyard. Savage Escalation. Alright, 3 spots are open in my war zone. We're both at 3 territories remaining. I have 1 action remaining for this turn. I'll play a weather card here. Freezing Rainstorm. On fire. There we go. The full effect of the flames. That's it for the turn. Taking on Sean IOP is a roll of 6. 15 cards and 6 actions here for Sean IOP. Trio of force cards. That's a match. Down to 2 territories. Two weather cards. A pullback on the WMD. And that's it for the turn. My turn. 3. Force and intel back in here. Start with weather. Want that extra turn. I have 1 action to go for this turn. I'll play a guard tower. Extra turn. 4. We'll go back for weather. Trio of guard towers. That's a match. And that building match, you can either return 6 cards to your arsenal, or you return 3 to your hand. Going back for those freezing rainstorms. But I'm not going to just throw them out there now. They've already been seen, I've been played, and then brought back. I could play 1, though. Because even if that were to be eliminated or bounced, I would still have 3 in hand. I'd have options with that. So we'll do that. We'll play a single freezing rainstorm. It's not letting me click on show hand, so I'll hit F5, which will refresh the app. Less than 5 seconds, everything pops back into place. You can continue. So, I mean, I could put that force card out there, the Agent Zero, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'll play Burn Notice. That's it for my turn. Remember, if you put it in your war zone, it could get targeted. But it's a roll of 1 for Sean IOP. Intel. My turn. 2. It's a good thing I played that 1 freezing rainstorm. I can play the other 2. Or 2 of the other. 2 more I can play. Get a match. I'll take the extra turn. Extra turn. 6. There we go. All right. Fire in the fields. Extra turn. 5 actions to go for this turn. Play a trio of Triggered Meltdowns, WMDs. This will eliminate 2 of my opponent's 3 remaining territories.
Select target.
Two actions for the turn. In the drop ships, see, I've got both the Genesis of Conflict dropship and the Savage Escalation H5 dropship. Extra turn. If I roll a 4 or higher, I'll win the match. It's a 3, so not yet. So instead, we'll go this route. We'll go H5 dropship.
Select target.
That's a match. That trio of dropships will give my opponent a compromised leader. 2 actions to go for the turn.
Compromised.
Be different if I had like 2 sets of matching force card, 3 of a kinds, or if I had 2 like I have here, if I had another tiger, but I don't. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, doesn't. So instead we'll go the other direction. We'll play 2 more intel cards to get a match. Let's bounce.
Select target.
1 of each, weather.
Select target.
Intel.
Select target.
Force. Bounce. But that's it for my turn. So roll a 4 for Sean IOP. 15 cards, 4 actions. Sean has a compromised leader, but there's a trio of WMDs, and that match is going to give me a compromised leader. It's going to eliminate my final 2 territories. However, only 1 action remains for the turn.
Compromised.
Second weather card is played. If I roll a 3 or higher, I win the match. It's a 2. Play 2 Agent Xeris. That's it for my turn. The next one of us to have a force match is going to get the win. The trio of force cards to match up too. But does Sean have a 3rd weather to match the 2 out in the war zone? There's a force card. Another force. I should be able to get the win right here no matter what. It's a 6. Of course, you get a 6 when you don't really need anything. Lucky me, I get the win here. Agent Zera.
Select target. Leader eliminated. Victory.
All right, good game, Sean IOP.
Warsaken.
Here we go, taking on Piotreku 11. Warsaken Blitz on NashvilleLou Live. Well, you don't want to be too picky about your starting 8. I'll keep it. And with this deck today, I'm using the Blood Fungus game mapped. My turn. And have the white dye with the red. You can customize your various cosmetic items by deck, and you can line them up. So I've got for this one with a lot of red in it. It's got the red in the dye. A lot of times I go with purple to match my brand color, but you can mix it up a bit. A lot of variety, a lot of options. We'll play a duo of weather cards, ideal conditions. That's it for my turn. Taking on Piotreku 11. With a roll 3. Look at that die there for Piotreku. That purple with a electric feel to it. Shocker. So 2 weather cards and a force card for my opponent. My turn. 6. Alright, we'll play another 2 of a kind weather with a blinding sandstorm. 2 sets of 2 weather. 4 actions to go for the turn. 2 spots open in my war zone. We'll play 2 intel cards. Clever hijack. So 2 duos of weather and then a duo of intel. I'll forego those last 2 actions and end the turn. Also, my card back, you know, is red with the white logo. You can customize and plan it out and make it look however you want for as many of the various cosmetics. And you get a lot of those cosmetic items via those Warsaken wheel spins. That's one way to get them. Not the secondary market. Or you can win them for me, potentially. You know, the items I have up there on my prize wheel. A lot of weather out there for Piotrek. Got 3 sets of 2. And then a force card out there. My turn. 5. Alright. Well, we'll play this 3rd blinding sandstorm and get an extra turn. Yeah, I have 2 spots open in my war zone. 4 actions to go for the turn. Play a 3rd clever hijack. This match will allow me to bounce 3 cards from my opponent's war zone. So excited to post the emoji. I accidentally posted an extra one. Let's see. I'm going to bounce 1 each of those 3 weather card pairs. The tornado. The tsunami. The sandstorm. Bounce. Those cards go to my opponent's discard pile. 3 spots open in my war zone. 3 actions to go for the turn. Let's go with 2 weather cards here. Fire in the fields. 2 sets of 2 weather. I'm going to pass up that last action and end the turn. Extra turn. 2. Okay, I'll play 2 Foxbusters. That's it for my turn. Taking on Piotrek 11 and Warsaken Blitz here on NashvilleLou Live. After this match, we'll be going back to the randomizer. I'll be looking for another opponent. Someone to play against in the live player versus player competition who I haven't faced yet today. So we'll have that just ahead. But this match, still in its early stages. Roll a 3 here for Piotrek. So a pullback on one of those weathers. Remember, I bounced 3 weather cards a short time ago. So a second force card to make a duo with those tanks, and then just a standalone force there with the jet. My turn. 4. All right. Fire in the fields. Extra turn. 3 actions to go for this turn. Play a 3rd G1 Foxbuster. This will eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories this match. My opponent's down to 3 territories. 2 actions to go for this turn. We'll go 2 with Bella Ivanova. The extra turn. 4. Bella Ivanova. So that trio, Bella Ivanovas, that force match will eliminate a 2nd territory for my opponent. I'm going to have 3 rummage intel cards here. Let's bounce. Force. Z27 Tiger. Force. And a 2nd Tsunami, the one that was out there earlier, already in the discard pile. Now a 2nd. That's it for my turn. Piotrek 11 with a roll of 5. There's a trio of force cards. That match will eliminate one of my 4 territories. For more information about Warsaken, to learn more about this game, highly recommended the Warsaken Discord. My turn. 2. Okay, well, I don't have any sort of a trio of cards to make a match, so we'll go with 2 Geomagnetic Disturbance Weathers. These are Savage Escalation cards, the new stuff. That's it for the turn. Piotrek 11 with a roll of 3. A duo of weather cards, the fire in the field, and then a second blinding sandstorm. So loading back up with the weather. A duo of WMD cards over there. Not lost on me. My turn. 1. I'm going to pass up that action and end the turn. It's a roll of 4 for Piotrek 11, my opponent. There's a WMD match. Trio of WMD cards. WMD match allows you to eliminate 2 of your opponent's territories. I'm down to 1. There's a trio of weathers. That match will mean an extra turn for my opponent. A duo of force cards with Ken Show. Extra turn, roll of 2. A third blinding sandstorm. I presume will be an extra turn. H5 dropship. It's a roll of 6 for this extra turn. 2 more force matches. Could do me in right here. 1 trio to take out my lone remaining territory, and the other to take out what would then be a compromised leader. 3 wide, 2 deep as far as force goes in the war zone. A pullback from Piotrek, and then 2 weather cards to end the turn. My turn. 3. All right, well, I can go back for building card, or I can use building cards to go back. I may do. We'll play 3 of these G-Titans, missile silos. Bring back the Foxbusters. That's it for my turn. And there's a lot out there in my opponent's war zone. Three force duos and a pair of weathers out there. Piotrek 11 rolls a 1. No play. Wow. My turn. 5. All right, I got the WMD. Should be able to get the win here because I can play this ideal conditions. I can take the +3 turns because I have everything I need already. I don't need to draw anything else. So +3 actions, I should say. So 6 + 1. The key part was getting the trio of white phosphorus bombs. So this WMD match will eliminate my opponent's final 2 territories.
Select target. Compromised.
4 actions to go. I only need 3. Play a trio of G1 Foxbusters for the win.
Select target.
need that force match to eliminate a compromised opponent and win the game. That's what I'm gonna do right here. Got that one looped around a little bit as far as the audio went, but got the victory. Good game, Piotrek 11. Hard fight.
Warsaken.
Rexy with the Warmonger title. I've got the Elite title for my deck here. Okay. Unfortunately, the only thing that matches up are those building cards, and well, that's not true. Actually, I've got to match up with the WMD. Not stuff I can play early. Only one force card, only one weather. I'll use a mulligan. But reshuffles my arsenal of 60. There we go. It's like patience. Had to make sure it actually went through. Well, it's patience. I don't know if that patience actually paid off. Now nothing matches. So unfortunately for me, I'm going to use that second mulligan. I'm stuck with whatever they give me. And my opponent gets an extra card. Well, at least I got weather that matches up. But that's not a guarantee. When you take that second mulligan, I mean, maybe you'll get something a lot better, but maybe not. Either way, your opponent gets an extra card. So a roll of 3 to start the match for Rexy, but normally you start with 8, and that would be 3 cards at 11. But Rexy started at 12 because of the extra card. And look at that. A trio of intel cards that I can either go after my arsenal, it could force me to discard. There's nothing in my war zone, so there's nothing to bounce. And we'll be going after my arsenal, so it appears Rexy is using an intel-based deck. Where you're trying to mill your opponent's arsenal down to 0. My turn. 4. First of all, what's the damage over here? I don't like seeing building cards end up there. It's just not fun. There's nothing you can do about that. As far as which cards from the arsenal happen to get milled. All right, we'll go 2 weather cards here. A duo of geomagnetic disturbances. One of the new weather cards for Savage Escalation. We'll go 2 more 00 Black Blade. Force cards. 2 sets of 2, and that's it for my turn. So Rexy rolls a 5. So a weather card, then another weather card for Rexy. And another weather card. So 3 separate weather cards. And that's it for the turn. That's interesting. My turn. 2. Alright, we'll play 00 Black Blade. I'll make a trio, and thus a match. Eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. All right, 1 action to go for the turn. I have 3 spots open in my war zone, but without even a pair as far as anything matching up in my hand. Really not strong incentive for me to play anything here with that last action, so I'll pass it up. End the turn. Taking on Rexinator, who rolls a 3. So again, 2 tournament broadcasts for me tomorrow. One for Warsaken Blitz, 8 a.m. Eastern. One for Brawlers, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then back Wednesday. Normal show, normal time slot. with Warsaken Blitz, live player versus player competition Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC, and probably Thursday as well, although I'll worry more about that as the week goes on. One action here after just rolling one, so not exactly filled to the brim with options. So I'm going to pass up that action in the turn. When you're playing against an opponent that has a lot of intel, you have to be careful about what you put in your war zone, even more so than normal, particularly your force cards. I'll always have caution with WMDs, but force cards in particular, because if your arsenal hits 0, well, this is interesting here. Okay, well, maybe I misjudged the approach here from Rexy. Again, there's some subterfuge you can use at times in this game. So WMD, that match eliminates 2 of my 4 territories. Trio of WMDs. You can only play at most 1 WMD match per game in Warsaken Blitz per side. I can still play one. Potentially. My turn. 5. Okay. We'll play this trio of Max Harper dealers. This force match will eliminate another territory for my opponent. Two actions to go for the turn. It's funny because you get that half second, sometimes at least, of false hope with the night vision deck. Although there's enough of the blue mixed in there, it's not as much. But even with this, nothing makes even a pair. So pass up the actions in the turn. Roll of 3 for Rexinator, my opponent for this match. So again, tomorrow, 2 tournaments on the slate. And then back Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC, with Warsaken Blitz live player versus player competition. 2 actions to go for the turn. Rexy with a lot of weather out there. You need to start chaining those weathers together, get that cascade effect going. Change the complexion of a match in a hurry. But that's it for the turn. My turn. 3. Three spots open in my war zone. We'll put some intel out there. We'll play 2 stolen blueprints. I'll pass up that last action in the turn. Roll of 1 for Rexy. No play. My turn. 4. I wasn't quite expecting this, but here we have it. Trio of intel. Assassination attempt. This will be a match. Let's bounce. This intel match will bounce 3 cards from my opponent's war zone. It's all weather. Sandstorm.
Select target.
Ideal conditions.
Select target.
Cloud cover. Bounce. I have 1 action to go for the turn. Well, I do have a few options of things I can play. I'm going to hold off. Pass up the last action in the turn. Taking on Rexinator. We both have 2 territories remaining. Roll of 5 for Rexy, who has now 22 cards in hand. Remember, I just bounced a bunch of weather. Rexy's already played a WMD trio, so there's no opportunity to make any sort of WMD match on that end. But Rexy just really needs 3 matches with Force to get the win. Well, there's a trio of weather cards with fire in the fields. So an extra turn for Rexy with 2 actions still to go for this turn. Building cards, extra turn. 6. Uh-oh. Now, of course, you can't go back for Force because you haven't played Force yet, but you can go back for plenty of weather. So this may see Rexy have a number of rolls here. So there's the trio of building cards, which will allow Rexy to bring 3 cards from the discard pile back to hand. Yeah, what I bounced just got brought back. There's a trio of Force cards. Selfless Hero. It's a match either way. That's going to eliminate a 3rd territory. I'm down to 1. 2 actions still to go for this turn. Second Blinding Sandstorm. 1 action to go for the turn. A second Ideal Conditions. My turn. 3. Oof. I don't think Force here is the answer. I think I need to hold on to that. I mean, you can't wait forever for a WMD, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Well, it's not, well, but putting building cards out there actually helped me. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I could put some of that out there, but then maybe I'm asking for trouble doing it that way. It may not matter, but okay, I will play 2 of these. I'll forego that last action in the turn. Rexy rolls a 1. But is there a 3rd weather to get a match with one of those pairs of weather that are already out there? There another Blinding Sandstorm, another Ideal Conditions. No, instead it's Force. My turn. 5. Can I get a WMD? I sure can, because I'm going to get the victory right here. I play this right.
Select target.
So that WMD match will eliminate my opponent's final 2 territories. Glad I waited for that Ken show, that 3rd one. This Force match will eliminate my opponent's compromised leader. Give me the victory. All right, good game, Rexy.
Warsaken.
All right, here we go, taking on Moonbass Marty. Moonbass Marty was in the room last night in the chat room for my stream for the Brawlers tournament for blue mint. Unfortunately, I didn't fare any better in that than I did in the Brawlers, in the Warsaken Blitz tournament, but a lot of fun yesterday with that double tournament broadcast. If you'd like to catch up on it, it's here on VOD, here on the NashvilleLou Twitch page. I make all of my previous broadcasts into highlights so they stick around indefinitely. Okay, I have 2 intel. I'm not crazy about that. But you don't be too picky early. You don't know if you take that first mulligan and then nothing matches, then you have a tough decision. So I'll keep it. I get to go first. 4. All right, we'll play a duo of Fire in the Fields. So a pair of weather cards. 3 spots open in my war zone. 2 actions to go for the turn. Let's go with a pair of planted devices. Intel. That's it for my turn. Taking on Moonbaz Marty for whatever reason. Got the mystery avatar. I'm not sure why that isn't loading up. Mine's there. I mean, you can't see it at the moment, but... See, it really is there. This is the Dusk Magma game mat that I'm using for this today. Kron, hello. If I missed you, if I missed anybody in chat, it wasn't an intentional oversight. There's so many things I see later in chat. I don't understand why I missed them in the moment, but I tend to get a bit dialed in with my broadcasting. So it's 2 pairs of force cards for Moonbaz Marty, 2 sets of 2. That's it for the turn. My turn. 3. All right. You're not going to get just a whole lot of opportunities typically against Moonbaz Marty as far as using intel against cards in his war zone. He tends to play very close to the vest, as it were. Not putting a lot out there. In a related note, Moonbaz Marty has a lot of success against me historically over the past several months. But luckily for me, I've got a match with my 3 planted devices, intel, and that's what matters is the categories. Let's bounce.
Select target.
We'll bump both of the Azar Cyrus
Select target.
cards and then one of the Max Harper dealers. I had my television muted, and I certainly didn't there. Hear that rat-a-tat-tat. 2 actions to go for the turn. I already have a pair of weather cards out there. Go ahead and play a pair of Force with the Z27 Tiger, and that'll do it for my turn. Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou live. Moonbaz Marty's my first opponent of the day. We'll be going back to the randomizer after this match. Looking for another opponent. The way I do things here with NashvilleLou live, I only play people at most once per day. They're live on stream in Warsaken Blitz. So a pullback there for Moonbaz Marty after getting that double weather out there, that pair of, well, those are tsunami cards. My turn. 1. All right, nothing makes a match. Nothing even makes a pair. So we'll pass up that action. You don't, even though I've got 2 spots open in my war zone, you don't just have to fill them up. And sometimes, especially Moonbaz Marty, watching Moonbaz have a lot of early success in those initial Blue Mint tournaments for Blitz taught me a lot as far as the potential value in playing it that way. In other words, don't have to play everything. You don't have to put it all out there right away. So I'll end the turn. Remember, if you put it out there in your war zone, if your opponent has intel, they can easily use that intel against you and ruin your best laid plans. And yet you can't just completely turtle up, or you won't be ready when the time is right. If you have a limited number of actions in a given turn, there's a match, a trio, Private Sarah Yvette cards. And that match has eliminated one of my territories. Bumps me down to 15 morale. My opponent started with 20 morale. There are 3 ways you can get a compromised leader in Warsaken Blitz. You have all of your territories eliminated. You can reach 0 as far as the number of cards remaining in your arsenal, your deck of 60. Or your morale can hit 0. Morale is the most uncommon of the ways it happens in Blitz as far as the way it's played right now. But it can happen. It's very important to know about it. Remember that Warsaken Blitz is the simplified version of Warsaken. If you wonder why I'm just zipping past this and not talking about these details on the cards that are in my arsenal, it's because for the purposes of Blitz, they all function the same when you make a match. So I'm going to make a match with building cards here, go back for intel if I make that play. If I don't make that play, at best, I'm putting out, So I can go back and get the intel, but I can't play it this turn, but that's okay. I wouldn't necessarily want to. Although maybe I would, but I don't have that option. So instead, and this will fill up a third spot in my war zone, but you do have to take action at some point in this game. So we'll play this trio of underwater mines. This will be a match with a building. I'm still struggling to say that in a natural way. Trying to get around talking about a match. It's nothing of a kind. Forget that. In this case, I want to return 3 cards from my discard pile to my hand. And there are only 3 in there. I could have sent them into my arsenal, my deck, but that would be a poor choice given the options. So I'll bring back the planted device. I can't play it this turn since I only have 2 actions remaining, although I could play one of them. But I don't know if that's the play. Instead, let's go with a pair of Force, A7 Axe. That's it for the turn. So I have a pair of weather cards and then 2 sets of 2 Force in my war zone. Roll 3 for Moonbaz Marty. My upcoming broadcast schedule tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC, back with more Warsaken Blitz live player versus player competition. Then Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, so an hour earlier than my typical. Hopefully I'll stick around long enough to at least extend to my normal start window. But I'll be back with the Blue Mint tournament coming up with Warsaken Blitz this Friday. And then Sunday, Brawlers, the best, that monthly event. I've done well in many of those prior tournaments, but challenge returns again this Sunday. That's at noon Eastern, 1600 UTC. My turn. 6. So quite a few options here. Moonbaz Marty has 2 sets of 2 out there, including this A4 Revenge Super Carrier. Great card. Like, it has Revenge in the name. What a card. Plus it's a really powerful ship. Aircraft carriers. It's an important specialty to have. Luckily for me, I've got a trio here of intel cards. More planted devices. Brought them back. Replanted. Let's bounce. We'll bounce both of these tsunamis. And I'll bounce one of these Revenge Super Carriers. I really should have done that the other way. But I didn't. Too late. 3 actions to go for the turn. But it's... yeah, I can go ahead here and actually... I mean, I'm not going back for building cards. I could go back for more intel, but I don't think that's really the move here. Instead, let's go with 2 weather cards. Cloud cover. I filled up a 4th spot in Warzone. Oh, I'm doing everything backward how I'm supposed to. Normally you look before you leap and you think things through better. Okay, well that was let's see if this works out for me. I can't do it. In turn. Oh, you don't want to make errors against Moonbaz Marty. They'll typically pay for that. It's tough enough against Moonbaz Marty when you're making the correct decisions. But Moonbaz Marty with a roll of 1, so only 1 action here for the turn. My turn. 2. Again, well, here's a demonstration of why I value that 4th spot in my war zone, and normally I don't pull things off this way. I was all excited for a second. Oh, that's not the weather I wanted. That's a different bluish-looking weather. Pass up the actions in the turn. Roll of 5 for Moonbaz Marty. That's 18 cards. Moonbaz Marty with all 4 territories intact. That WMD match, that trio of captured leaders is going to eliminate 2 of my 3 remaining territories. I'm down to 1. And a trio of Danny Zera's at Force card match. Just giving me a compromised leader. Here we go, my turn. 6. You gotta be kidding me. Is nothing matching without... oh, thank goodness, at least the axe. At least I can go this way with it. Alright, so the A7 axe. So that force match will eliminate one of my opponent's 4 territories. Out of Tanya. Out. 5 actions to go for the turn. Yeah, I don't need all of these WMDs, but I can play 1 trio of triggered meltdowns here and eliminate 2 additional territories.
Select target.
Keep in mind that I've got a compromised leader. All Moonbaz Marty needs is another force match to beat me. We make a match in this game by having a trio of the same card title. 2 actions to go for the turn. I know I was just talking about filling up my 4th spot in my Warzone, but we'll go ahead and play the 2 building cards here. I'm really up against it, though. Moonbaz Marty has me with a compromised leader. So all of this might not matter, depending on what Moonbaz Marty rolls. Here's a 6. If Moonbaz Marty can conjure up a force match here, a trio of force cards to get the win, that would do it for the match. Building cards. Well, this will be for the win here for Moonbaz Marty. Going back, I'm sure, for one of those. Maybe for the Agent Zeras. Yep, Agent Zera for the win coming up here. With 3 actions remaining for the turn. There it is. There's the force match.
Leader eliminated. Defeated.
All right, good game. Moonbaz Marty, victorious.
Warsaken.
All right, here we go. Take it on, Rexy. I need to turn the in-game audio up a bit, I think. Turned that down last night. I wish there were an easier way to handle things with OBS Studio with some of the... Like, if I could just switch out scenes easier. Maybe there is a way, and I just need to figure it out, but I'll do that on my time. We got a game to play here. I really do need to switch out one of these weathers. Because it gives you that false, like, oh, those look similar. But looking similar being an actual pair are 2 different things. So nothing makes any sort of a match here, or even a pair, for that matter. So I'll take a mulligan. So it reshuffles my arsenal, my deck of 60, and deals me 8 again. And just like before, nothing at all even makes a pair. So, as much as I dislike taking the second mulligan, in this case it makes sense, so I'll do that. It gives Rexy an extra card, and I'm stuck with whatever they give me. Whoa. Rexy gets to go first. Well, I mean, it worked out pretty well, I have to say. Rexy rolls a 2. Rexy with the Warmonger title in use here for this deck today. So 1 each with the weather cards for Rexy. My turn. 3. All right, well, I can play these 3 tropical cyclones. And that'll be a weather match and give me an extra turn. Six. I can go back for weather and then play that weather and get yet another extra turn. I might do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to put a couple of pairs of cards out there. Instead, let's go with the Glassport Radar Facility. Get this one dialed in. So that trio of building cards is a match. Allows me to return 3 cards to my hand, so I'll bring back the Tropical Cyclone. I'll have it spin its way back into the board, into the war zone, and strike again. Another extra turn. Extra turn number 2. 4. Alright, enough with the weather for now as far as the matches go, but I can play 2 geomagnetic disturbances weather cards. So I have a set of 2 weather out there, 3 spots open in my war zone. 2 actions remain for the turn. We'll go with force. Let's go with the double EL. Navy sub. That's it for the turn. taking on Rexinator. Remember, I'll have a Warsaken wheel spin coming up later in this hour. Your chance to win's coming up. Rexy with a roll of 5. A lot of weather out there for Rexy. That's it for the turn. Wow. My turn. 2. All right. I mean, I have options as far as playing a pair. But I think I'll go with the intel. With a pair of time detonations. That's it for my turn. So I have a pair of weather cards, a pair of force, and a pair of intel. Roll 3 for Rexy, who has one-offs with weather in 3 of the 4 war zone positions. Now, I've only seen weather from Rexy thus far, so I don't know if Rexy's sitting on intel, if it's a lot of force, if it's a blend. Could be a lot of things. So there's a mystery to it, which is an interesting approach. 6. Intel, time detonation. That intel match will allow me to bounce 3 cards in my opponent's war zone.
Select target.
All the weather out. Cloud cover.
Select target.
Lightning sandstorm.
Select target.
Fire in the fields. Bounce. Five actions remain for the turn. More building cards. Another cyclone. I have 2 actions remaining for this turn. I don't want to put that weather out there that I just brought back another time. I've already played twice. That's about as egregious as it gets as far as begging for an opponent to throw some intel down and knock it out. So instead, let's put a couple of intel cards out there of my own. Assassination attempt. That's it for my turn. Rexy with a roll of 4. 20 cards for Rexy. Just bounce those weathers out of the war zone. Let's see if this has any effect. I have some of the Savage Escalation, some of these new territory cards in here at Treasury Department. Rexy go back for that weather I just bounced. A Clementine Meyer. Brotherland Fields. I got the Black Earth Mine. Those are all Savage Escalation territories. Those building cards, there's only 3 you can go back for. Those weathers that I bounced. 1 action remains for the turn. Still a lot of mystery as far as what Rexy's holding, which is very interesting. Weather. I've only seen weather thus far in building cards from Rexy. My turn. 2. I'm not going to play anything here. I think it would be a mistake to play a pair here in my 4th war zone position this turn. So I'll pass up the actions in the turn. So I don't know what Rexy's got up there, but Rexy's sitting on a lot of cards. 2. If Rexy has 2 more ideal condition weather cards to play, that would be a weather match and an extra turn. There's a second ideal conditions. 1 action remains for the turn. More weather. Mysterious Rexy. My turn. 3. All right. Like the cyclone again, the tropical cyclone. Extra turn. 4. All right. Still waiting on. Love to have a WMD trio. But since I don't have that at the moment, let's go with a 3rd geomagnetic disturbance. Actually, before I do that, let's not look before I leave. We've got the pair of geomagnetic disturbances out there. We'll play a 3rd. That'll be a match. That weather match means extra turn. 3 actions remain for this turn. Let's see. Normally I would pick if I had... You don't really have 4 and 4 as far as your... When you have options with force. We'll make a match with 3 of these Ray Ants.
Select target.
A force match allows you to eliminate opponent's territory. It's the extra turn. 4. All right. We'll play these 3 tactical Duke cards. That's going to be a WMD match, and we'll eliminate 2 of my opponent's 3 remaining territories.
Select target.
Warsaken Blitz, NashvilleLou live. 1 action to go for the turn. I'll bring it back around with intel. Play that 3rd assassination attempt. That's going to be a match. That intel match will allow me to bounce 3 additional cards from my opponent's Warzone Rexy.
Select target.
Get hit with the intel here. Going to bounce everything. Out.
Select target.
Both the ideal conditions.
Select target.
Cloud cover. Out. That's it for my turn. Taking on Rexinator, I'll be having a Warsaken wheel spin giveaway later this hour. Chance to win's coming up. Roll a 5 for Rexy. There's a trio of blinding sandstorms. That's a weather match, and thus an extra turn for Rexy with 2 actions still to go for this turn. Building cards. 2 building cards to end the turn. Extra turn. Roll of 2. I'm anticipating Rexy has a 3rd, and there is a 3rd building card. Question is, will you go back for the weather I just bounced, or you go back for the blinding sandstorm? I love that you can do this in this game. You can look in your opponent's discard pile. Your opponent can do the same with you, so it's fair. There's most games don't... That would be very cumbersome in most traditional card games. So going back for what I just bounced, that 2 and 1 instead of the 3 blinding sandstorms. Only 1 action remains for the turn. Ideal conditions. Insisting on looking on the bright side. Keep bringing it back. My turn. 3. I could play weather here, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to play force. I'm going to play trio of X3 black dogs. That'll be a force match. Eliminate my opponent's final territory and give Rexy a compromised leader.
Select target.
That's it for the turn.
Compromised.
I just need a force match to get the win. Just need 3. The same title of a force card to get that match and get the win, but Rexy with a roll of 4, 26 cards. Let's see how many extra turns Rexy can rack up here. So there's finally for Rexy a weather match with the ideal conditions. So 1 extra turn, 2 actions to go for this turn. Pair of cloud cover weather cards. Extra turn, roll of 4 for Rexy. 26 cards. So those 3 cloud cover cards will mean another extra turn for Rexy. 3 actions remain for this turn. 25 cards for Rexy. Intel. So that's an Intel match. Could go after the 2 cards in my Warzone. It could mill 6 cards. My arsenal's down to 15. If that were to hit 0, nope. Instead, it'll go after my Warzone, clear out those 2 double EL subs I had out there. So there go those force cards to my discard pile. Extra turn roll of 2 for Rexy. Even after all that Rexy with 24 cards in hand. WMD. 2 of those will end the turn. My turn. 3. Can I get a third? No, I can't get. I can go with the weather. I get an extra turn. I mean, it's a good thing for Rexy that double EL got bumped, huh? All right, Monsoon Storm. With that extra turn. Yeah, 12 cards in my arsenal, so I'm not unaware, but I was trying to get the win right here. It's a 3. Can I do it here? I sure will. Sergeant Sigwalt Klein for the win.
Select a target.
All right, good game, Rexy.